Welcome to the Balanced Blueprint. I'm your host, Garrett Day. Alongside of me is Stacy Day.
Hello.
We have Jason Winkler on
What's
the
up?
other side. And we have great guy today.
Jorge Peniche.
Yeah, Jorge Peniche. This guy's an entrepreneur, journalist, photographer. I mean,
Manager.
Yeah, there's the list
So many
goes
things.
on. The list goes on. So what do you not do is what I want to ask you, brother, because marathons, I mean, the whole nine. You're an active guy, you know, physically, emotionally, and
I don't rest
spiritually.
much.
You don't rest much.
I don't rest much, man. I have a hard time saying no to people, you know, and those are the majority of people that surround me in my immediate network are, you know, family and friends. So I got a big heart, and it's hard to say no. And sometimes, you know, I just keep taking on more and more and more.
Yeah, it's and I've talked about this a lot. Saying yes, man, is a big thing. You know, we never want to say no. Building relationships are huge, right?
Sure.
Resources, referrals, everything else that we talk about.
All of that.
I want to go to the beginning stage. I want to talk about your passion, your first passion. You know, it was art. Okay. And I want to see kind of the influence of what was going on. I know mom was art. Dad art.
Dad, both in their own respective mediums, right?
Sister was involved.
Sister was majored in graphic design.
There we go.
Yep.
So walk us through this in a process of when you really found that love of art and what it captured.
Sure. So on my dad's side, he's an immensely talented artist that never really got to hone into his skills or develop them, you know, as a profession or hobby. But he's extremely talented, very well versed. But you know, we came from Mexico under a unique set of circumstances, so it wasn't too much opportunity to kind of entertain hobbies in the earlier years. Maybe now might be a better time for him to potentially do that.
Got it.
My mom, she her art was silk flower arrangements. It's a profession that she did alongside my aunt.
That's a big
that
art.
she did, you know, I feel like for at the very least a decade. So there was the art of not only creating these arrangements, but also the art of selling them year round, which to me was really
art of
special
sales.
and unique. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we'd go to whenever I would help out, we'd go to bowling alleys, temp agencies. We'd go to, where else did we go to? Nail salons, hair salons. And I mean, they're going to the same spots virtually every week, and they're making sales. So to me, that was rather impressive. And then for my sister, she majored in graphic design, even though I think it would have suited her better to do interior design, because I see more of that fire burning in her.
That's what my mom does.
Still to this present day.
Interior design. Loves it.
But yeah, she majored in graphic design, and you know that introduction of graphic design and the computer into the home, and her being generous enough to let me tag along with her to her courses, you know, opened up my world to a lot of things. But even before that, during my formative years, I would say 3rd, 4th, and 6th grade particularly, I was fortunate enough to have a teacher, Miss Manning, who put, you know, the arts at the forefront of her, you know, or at the top of her pyramid of you know, her curriculum, which was in rare form, you know, because it's usually, you know, math and sciences.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, because those are the easiest ones to more or less measure.
Not an alternative.
Going to art almost seems like a hobby, and you know, doesn't seem like a feasible opportunity to do, you know, to pursue
For a
a
profession.
profession.
Without a doubt.
So her, you know, pushing the arts as just as important as the math and science and language arts and all that good stuff. You know, once again, kind of put the battery in my back and, you know, put it within like, you know, like something that I can entertain, something that's important, and a medium that I think when I always jokingly say, like, if there was to be some type of apocalyptic situation, yes, go to the scientists, but also go to the creatives, because the creatives are able to think outside of the box and are able to see solutions where, you know, they may not exist.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was she older than you?
Who?
Your sister?
My sister, yeah, 9 years older. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I was in there. They probably thought I was her kid.
Yeah, so you got to go tag along and be a part of it all. And
the only thing I didn't
learn.
get was a computer to work on.
Yeah.
I would just sit in the back and watch.
Over
and
her
then
shoulder.
get home and, you know, mess around on the computer.
Yeah.
on Photoshop and Illustrator, and I know probably all of us are familiar with LimeWire. So LimeWire, not only could you download music and movies, but you could also download applications. So that's how we got access to the applications. You know.
So what year was that?
This
When
is
you started? Because it's 9 years apart. I mean, you were young. But
yeah,
what,
no,
11, 12?
my sister going to for an age.
Yeah, for the age wise, when you started doing that and started kind of trailing along with her.
Yeah, that might have been. Let me see if she was about 19. Yeah, I was about 10.
That's
9,
cool.
10. So
You started early
started early, got an early start. Yeah,
and
yeah,
knew
yeah.
what you wanted, knew what your passion was too, and how you felt on it.
Oh, for sure.
I see, and I love that, the beauty of finding that at such a young age,
Man,
and then
it's
pursuing
everything.
something, right?
It's everything. I wish it for anybody. You know that anybody's kids or anybody you come in contact that they're in an ideal world to get to discover these things early on, but
Yep.
just in general in life, be able to find a passion that you know that really fuels you, and keeps you up at night and
Absolutely.
has you thinking about things. And
Yep.
that's
Has nothing to do.
that's what it's about.
It's passion. Has nothing to do with money. Money comes later.
No.
You
That's
know,
a byproduct of when you're good at something.
Absolutely, and the passion and the drive of what you do.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that you had your family involved in it too, and your sister. I mean, having that 9-year gap and kind of trucking it and ducking it with her.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
I was very lucky.
Yeah, without a doubt. The I read something about kind of your first job opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was like what, 12, 13?
Oh yes.
And you didn't want to talk over the phone.
Right.
Talk to us about that, because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, so at
'Cause you're
this
way
point,
ahead.
I had about 2 or 3 years under my belt of being able to maneuver and dabble in graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to start making some money. And so my first instinct at this point was try to offer my services freelance for, I think it was in fact logo design.
Okay.
And so I offered it through eBay. I had an account on eBay. It didn't seem like a conventional outlet for that, but it was the only outlet
Smart.
that I had.
It's great.
And so I offered it there. I think I was doing the logo for $50 or something like that. And sure enough, this was a time where there was greater anonymity on the internet. There's still some to some extent, but it wasn't FaceTime, Zoom.
Well, you
Right.
kind of invented Fiverr before Fiverr.
Right.
You
Kind
know,
of,
by
yeah.
selling the
Can you
services on
explain
eBay.
that real quick as a side note about the Fiverr?
Fiverr's like a service you can go on and get graphic design for cheap.
Yeah,
And you
for
did that.
freelancers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
created
Doing it,
that
yeah.
on your own.
Yeah, they
10
offer
or
a bunch
11.
of different services. Yeah, so I offered the service there, and I landed my first client. It was a small architectural firm that did a company called Truett Architects.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I recollect correctly, the design might have been something with like a drafting T-square or something like that.
Okay.
Something really clean, which actually reflects very much the aesthetic that I appreciate today.
Yeah.
And they loved it. But all of the communication
Yeah.
was via email.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know they were dealing with a 12 or 13-year-old.
When did they find out?
They didn't. Maybe
Now
at,
they
at
know.
some point they see one of these,
As soon as we can
one
wave
of these
them.
interviews or something,
Yeah.
and they get to
Then they'll
see
know
like,
now.
Okay, cool.
That's great. And now, how long did you work with them for?
No, I was gonna go
That
for
was
it.
a one-off,
Okay.
There's and
Freelance
at
stuff.
that
Just a
time, a
freelance.
lot of the stuff was freelance one-off
So
projects.
just kind of boom,
yeah.
boom, boom,
Yep.
bust them out.
But
Yep.
you started young with that. That's great. So,
Yeah.
Big time.
So did you like hone your skills over the 10-year-old period to the 13 period, and then started wanting to make money?
Yeah, I felt like I could do the type of work that people would want to pay for at that point. I was like,
That's
okay, I
cool.
kind of got it. In worst case scenario, you refund people their money.
Yeah.
Right.
If they don't like it, they're like, all right, cool, I get it.
Yeah. Exactly.
We still got work to do.
Were you working with like Photoshop and stuff like that? at that time? Is
Photoshop,
that around?
Illustrator.
Okay, got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Illustrator,
I
Photoshop.
was like very invested. I mean, I even recollect being in high school. I was one of the editors of the newspaper, and I remember us going on. Matter of fact, it was in high school. This was in middle school. I remember us going to the LA Times. I was part of the journalism
That's
club
great,
or whatever.
man. Right
And
on.
I remember us going there and having a nice debate, a friendly debate with one of the editors there at the LA Times, because I was really invested in Adobe products.
Okay.
And at the time, they used to use Quark Express. And so I was like, look, it doesn't make sense. You think Quark Express is going to be here forever? I think it's going to be InDesign. I'm like, because they have all these ancillary products, that work under the same wheelhouse. it only makes sense that eventually, InDesign is going to take over. So these are the type of things that I thought about on a daily basis.
So you were
at the
passionate
age.
about the software too, which is
It's
cool.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
background
yeah.
of the software.
What do you think of AI, and what do you think about what's going on with Canva and just the AI systems in general, like Midjourney?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool because it empowers people that might not be as
Too savvy?
artistic
Yeah.
or tech savvy.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
where anyone can virtually put together something and express themselves in
Yeah.
some artistic fashion. I don't think it can outright replace just people working on something, because there's something that when it comes to creativity that requires original thoughts. It requires
Vision.
some level of
Yeah.
vision,
Yeah.
emotion. And
I think the
AI,
spirit's
has
involved,
to
man.
borrow from things that already exist,
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
Yeah. What I like it for is like coming up with ideas and then sending it to a designer to be like, this is what I'm thinking, but I can't, do exactly what you do. So here's my ideas, and visualize it better.
It's definitely
Yeah.
a good jump start,
Yeah.
for something. Even with ideas for like names or going to Chat GPT.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
They're very powerful tools.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful tools, but not I don't think they're all the way there yet. Will
No.
there be? I think so.
Yeah. I think it's gonna
that's
be
the trajectory of that technology.
it's gonna be scary.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want people to get out of jobs because Chat GPT, takes the job away.
Yeah,
That's the one thing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
And
I
like
think
you
if you're an
said,
entrepreneur and you're creative and you have a vision, it's just gonna help you. It's gonna empower you.
It's a tool.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
what you're saying too, it's like I heard a quote or someone said like, "There's not going to be founders of business anymore. They're going to be entrepreneurs that can do so many different things and throw it against the wall their ideas and see what works quicker than just having to invest in one idea and be all in on one idea. It's like I can test things a lot quicker with AI, which I like the concept of that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at any
yeah.
type of new technology.
Yeah.
By no means.
Yeah,
it
it helps you in a way.
It's like
you know?
every era has dealt with a new technology being introduced into the
Yeah.
market.
True.
And there being people that that embrace it and then people that oppose it.
Yeah,
But one thing is for sure, that technology is going to be around whether you like it or not. So
Yeah, you got no
Absolutely.
choice.
The answer
Yeah,
is embrace
and keeps
it
getting
Yeah.
better
and
and better.
figure out how to use it to your advantage.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, it was just like there was Napster, right? Remember
Right.
we could like burn the CDs ourselves and like do all that. But then now there's like it evolved and stuff. Now you can use
Hey,
all the music.
there were
like, on
CDs.
social
Now there's no
media.
CDs.
I know.
That's the truth.
There you go.
Right?
We still have
Yeah.
one like in our
It's
car,
crazy.
and the kids
Yeah.
are like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Vinyls to tapes to
Yeah.
CDs,
Yeah.
then to
Streaming.
like you said, Napster, individual songs.
Yep.
Then you go to LimeWire albums.
Yep.
Then you go to torrent sites, discographies.
Yep.
And now it's all streaming.
Yeah,
You know,
but they figured out a way to where people can profit off of it and have it like licensed and stuff instead of like
Right.
all of us just
Well,
gaining.
Well,
Yeah.
and then there's
For
companies
free.
like Blockbuster that just disappear, and there's companies like Netflix where you used to get a CD or disc
Yeah.
sent to you, and now
Truly.
they're the biggest company in the world.
And to
so it's
think they-
innovating,
they laughed at Reed Hastings
Yeah.
coming in. That's the founder of Netflix. They
Netflix,
laughed
yeah.
at him when he came with the idea, and not understanding the inevitable trajectory of internet is going to be faster.
Smart.
Yeah.
It was going to catch up eventually.
And Blockbuster wanted to stay in their own ways. Kind
Yeah.
of rude
Now they have
themselves.
one in Bend, Oregon now.
Exactly.
That's
Is
it.
it still there?
Well, yeah, one more place.
Now they
yeah.
do pop-ups.
Yeah, pop-ups and clothing and
Pop-ups.
licensing.
Yeah.
I still want to get a
that's it.
hat. I want a Blockbuster hat.
That's
get you
nostalgia.
one.
Now it's nostalgia, man.
It
sucks.
totally is. It totally
But that's
is.
a great lesson of being, broadening your horizons and being accepting of what's to come.
Yes.
New technologies.
Yep.
Let's jump. I want to jump into the physical, okay? Because you're a marathon runner.
2 marathons. I can't say.
Brother, hey, that's fantastic.
He runs
man.
a brand
That's
called Marathon, and then he does some marathons.
has
There we go.
That
There
was
we
only
go.
right.
So let's talk
Yeah.
both of them, right?
Sure.
So first marathon that you ever ran. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was great. I mean,
And how old were you?
well, this was just last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
This
it's
was just last
recent.
year.
Good
March
for you.
was 17th, 2024.
You're jumping into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we did our first marathon as a way to commemorate Nipsey. Nipsey always talked about not only figuratively running the marathon, but literally running the LA Marathon. And it was one of those things that we had talked about doing eventually. But, in the, daily grind and, always being occupied with different projects, sometimes those things kind of, get past, across the desk.
Yeah.
And so we made a commitment as a team, to run the marathon. And a lot of immediate members of our team, our day-to-day team, participated in it, as well as about 60 other runners that from across the country that ran on behalf of the Neighborhood Knit Foundation, which is our nonprofit. And so it was our first time doing it, and yeah, it was amazing. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. You know, I've always been a proud Angelino and feel like I know virtually every back street and major street and landmark and this, that, and the third. But I will say there's nothing like running the marathon and being on the ground level through your favorite streets and running alongside other people and all the pomp and circumstance and running through downtown from Elysian Park to Silver Lake to Chinatown to downtown to Hollywood, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Century City. I mean, it's a great experience.
Absolutely.
And it's a cool thing, to put your body to the test, and it's a mind over matter type of thing as well, because I don't consider myself like a seasoned athlete. I work out, but it was really cool also to see people from all walks of life and all shapes and sizes out there, getting to it.
Team building too, man.
Your
whole crew, which is great.
Definitely. We're actually gonna run it again this year in March. So guys. In 2 months, less than 2 months.
We'll work on you.
Yeah,
do you have to train for it?
A sane person does, right? I have justified.
Well, some people don't.
No, some people don't. And I justify it by the fact that I do 3 days of strength training in my week, and then I do with a trainer, and then I do 3 days of basketball because that's what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, basketball, you got good cardio.
You get cardio, but it's a different type of cardio because it's stop and go, right? Yeah. But you should train for it. I usually I ran Mexico City in August.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's where I'm from. I came here at the age of 2, so this was my first time going back.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it was like a really cool homecoming. We did like a little mini doc that we put on our YouTube and social sites and all that good stuff. But I didn't really train. I'd probably trained a little bit more for LA Marathon than I did Mexico City. Yeah. Mexico City, I ran, I think like a week or two prior to going, I ran like 13 miles or something. And I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, I can do it.
And I went out there. And surprisingly enough, the altitude wasn't a big issue. Yeah. Right. Which I thought it was going to be a big issue. Right. But what I did start getting was a lot of leg spasms. So maybe more potassium, more magnesium.
Yeah, a little cramping.
It was like halfway into the run. Yeah. And it totally killed my, my pursuit for some type of record or anything like that, because there's nothing you can do.
You're just like, I just want to make it through, right?
And I did it. Yeah, I did pretty well. I think I did like 4 or something, which was good.
Absolutely. I think it's the end result is the finish.
Yeah. No, well, that finish line in Mexico City is a lot more grand than it is here in LA, because in LA you end up in front of like the Century City Mall. Yeah.
Cool. Where did they stop in Mexico City?
There is at the Zócalo. That's like right in front of El Palacio. Yes, right. Sure. So that's basically big like spot. the epicenter of Mexico. The birthplace of Mexico. Like it looks like when you're in there, when you get there, you feel like you're engulfed and you're in a different time.
Really?
Different era. Yeah. So it really. Right here? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I heard Mexico City's amazing. I still haven't really been since I was very young. But the food I heard is amazing.
No, I've heard the food has always been really good. Yeah. But I feel like there's like a renaissance going on right now. Yeah. Because I can't help but see it all up and down my feed, and people
entrepreneurs
there,
building stuff, everything.
The food there, I mean, food and service is top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier.
That's great to hear. I want to go check it out.
Yeah, same here.
It's trip. It's only 3 hours.
Oh yeah, let's
bring the family.
That'd be fun.
Do a family trip.
Yeah.
So I did it with the family too, so you can do it too.
All right, I can do it.
I had a cool Airbnb I found. It's real nice.
Yeah.
Kids wanted to move in there, and I'm like, this is not how everybody lives in Mexico. Yeah. It's like a 4-story penthouse. And with 2 guards and change shifts and everything. I want to do this.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be?
Yeah. I would hope that for
send me that link.
I'm like, this is just our week experience, dude.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, I gotta do that.
Here, let me take you to
do you have a question,
No, I was gonna say, did your passion for music, or did you kind of get a passion for music later on and working with musicians, or did that come with the photography and art in the beginning?
I've always been a big admirer, and avid listener of rap music since I was a kid. Obviously growing up, just Tupac's, the Biggies, the Snoops, the Dog Pounds, the Nas's, the Jay-Z's, and so on and so forth, right? I mean, it was a really special time, in music.
Without a doubt.
In the 90s and 2000s. And so, that really is what fueled my interest in music. The fact that I I got an opportunity to participate in the culture in the way that I have.
Yeah.
I feel very privileged and very fortunate to be in that space. The thing that ultimately gave me the license into that space was, I guess, two skill sets, which was my photography and also my design skills.
Yeah.
And then eventually other skill sets were able to, I was able to apply different things, to that field.
That's great. Was Nipsey the first person you worked with on the music side?
No. So the first person I got to work with was Game.
Okay.
Game was just coming off releasing his debut album, documentary, 5 times platinum.
Nice.
And had a chance to encounter through an online sneaker forum called NikeTalk.com, which was really big at the time. And one of like the most polarizing figures on that forum was a gentleman by Ben Baller.
Yep.
Most people
We know
know
Ben
him
Baller,
now
yeah.
because of obviously the A$AP Ferg song, and he has a huge social media presence. But at the time, he was that guy on Nike Talk. He was a little bit older than everybody.
A little more wise.
A little bit wiser.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he was very braggadocious, which for an impressionable, a impressionable teenager, it seemed like, man, this guy's
Oh,
got
he was
it
a
all
teen
figured
at
out.
that time. Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. He was a teen at that time.
Well, I was
No,
a teen
he
at the
was.
time.
Oh,
He
okay,
must
okay.
have had must have been maybe in his 30s.
Okay. Yeah, because I know he's
So he's posting
older.
Rolls Royces,
Nice.
exotic cars,
Got it.
females, jewelry, all that good stuff. So again, you're young, you see this, you're like, oh, this guy's got it figured out.
Yeah.
And so to make a long story short, I'm able to make a connection with him, and he introduces me to DJ Ski.
Yep.
We're at a public relations firm company called High Public Relations on Melrose. And Ski brings me into the fold of what he's doing, and at the time he's working on a mixtape with Game. They had just dropped that infamous 300 bars and song that was, during the fueling beef of 50 Cent and Game.
Remember
And
that?
that's who I got connected with first with Ski through Ben Baller, Ski to Game, and then Game kind of opened up the doors and was very generous again. Like I've had a lot of people be kind enough to let me in, allow me to be a fly on the wall in some spaces, and in the spaces in particular for these mixtapes, you had guys like Kendrick Lamar in those rooms, you had J-Rock, you had a plethora of other artists, that are household names today.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it just right place, right time.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you were with your sister, like sitting back and just like
Oh,
fly on
yeah.
the
You were
wall.
doing the
Then it,
same
like,
things I was
gonna
gonna say with your sister.
For sure.
That skill set
Little
to want to learn,
For sure.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I can't say I've never had a overzealous personality that could blow an opportunity for myself. And I see that oftentimes happens for a lot of people, especially being in the entertainment world.
Yeah.
Like the ego problems, and it's people getting too thinking too highly of themselves too soon, and then kind of ruining opportunities.
That's
people
one part. The other
Yeah.
part is just like, oh my God, so and so is
Yeah.
in here.
Oh,
And
you mean
then
starstruck
it's
kind
one
of
the
a-
questions, and you're like, dude,
stuff.
like just you're in here for a reason.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You know?
Yep. Send the good vibrations out. Be the same vibrations as everybody else in the room.
That's it.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think all the great artists do that too. Like you said, like they're kind people. Like they want to see people come up with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're great to do that. The other ones that have just ego problems, I think.
Yeah,
it's
I
one or
mean-
the other.
For Game,
Yeah.
I think he deserves his flowers because he
Yeah.
opened up the doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some that people may know of, and others that people may not be aware of. But yeah, he was very generous with the platform that he had at the time.
Yeah, that's great.
So did you when you went into that, were you doing some graphic design logo stuff for them too during that process? For
No,
the albums or
at the
anything, or
time I
yeah.
was coming in on the heels of me still doing eBay stuff, but at the
Okay.
time I was buying and reselling sneakers.
Got it.
That's why I had a camera, so I was doing really product photography.
Yeah.
That was my crash course in branding and visual branding because, what I kind of discovered at the time was, let's say for Jordans, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were selling apples for apples, exact same product, throughout the platform, the eBay platform.
Yep.
But not everybody was getting the same number of bids or garnering the same amount of money for their sales.
Okay.
And I mean, you're talking about the exact same product.
Yeah.
And the differentiating factor was the presentation,
Okay.
right? So for me, I was like, all right, I got to pick up the camera and, make sure that, one, I create photographs that, look presentable and look clean.
I was gonna say
And
that's
two,
a big
at
difference.
the time, again, we're talking about the wild, wild west of e-commerce. People know that it's tangible,
Yeah.
right? That you actually have the product in hand.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy part about
Mm-hmm.
all of this, right? And I told Nipsey this. My username on the platform on eBay, this is how crazy life is,
Yeah.
was I Hustle.
Oh wow.
That ended up being Nipsey's
I was gonna say,
domain name for his website when
That's
we launched
awesome.
the marathon. When we
So
like,
funny.
It's meant to be.
without a doubt.
I believe in it. I
do
believe
too.
in it. I
Yeah.
do.
I absolutely do.
You know, there's things that you could just chip. You know, say it's a coincidence, but no. When I look at things like that, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a believer of how the universe conspires in
Manifestations,
your
bro.
favor, manifestation, yeah, for sure.
It,
sure,
it's
for
for
sure.
real.
Yeah, there's some things that just
real.
can't happen, like just coincidence, like you said. Like they're just too
No,
detailed.
Yeah.
I told him,
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to hear something funny? I'm like, yeah, that was whenever I would photograph a product, I would have like a printout of my username, and it would say I hustle.
Yeah.
That was it, my my account name.
Yeah,
And you never
Yeah,
told him
it's-
that before, and he already
No,
had that
no,
done.
no,
Yeah,
no. This
that's crazy.
is
That's crazy.
his I hustle was a byproduct of like iPod, iMac. He was like,
Yeah.
well, this is my internet hustle, so it's I hustle.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I was doing product photography, and that's why having that camera carried over to doing portrait photography
For sure.
because the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, well, I've never really shot photos of people like that, but this seems to be my the entry point for me being able to be in these rooms. Let me give it a try, and I think it was something that I think was one of my callings.
That was going into your 20s.
Yeah, like 18. Yeah, about 19 to 20.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're going in, and then after that, I mean, the game gave you some opportunities. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you still started you're still doing your logos, still doing
Yeah,
your
yeah.
design work, and then what brought you into again managing and everything else too with that?
Okay, so
You're right.
Or how did you start? With Nipsey, how did
With
that
Nipsey,
relationship
yeah, how did-
start building, and then getting into the business side of it?
Yeah, so one of my good friends, Will, he
Mm-hmm.
used to do music at the time. He put me onto Nipsey's music.
Okay.
A project, Bullets Ain't Got No Name, Volume 2. And so I listened to the project, and I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing. Like, this guy, has something that's very familiar that we all love about, music here on the West Coast and in LA specifically. But then there was something very current and refreshing and introspective. And I'm like, man, this guy is something else.
Yeah.
And so
Got a
that
special sound for sure.
caught my attention as a fan.
Yep.
And so I listened to the first volume of that series. And at the time I was doing freelance writing and photography for publications domestically and overseas. And so I thought, the first olive branch that I could extend would be like, hey, look, I know you're about to release an album. You got the streets on fire. Maybe we can work in the capacity that I get some write-ups for you and I photograph you. Like as a photographer, you want to, document, even if it's one session with an artist you really
Absolutely,
like,
document
that's
it.
what you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that olive branch was extended via MySpace. That that was a big vessel for a lot of different
Yeah.
opportunities for myself at the time.
Excellent.
And fortunate enough, our good friend Adam, who's like my brother now, he's the one that was managing the MySpace account.
Nice.
And he messaged me back and said, hey, look, we have a music video for what was gonna be the lead single of this project, of this album, South Central State of Mind.
Okay.
Song called "Hustle in the House." He's like, you should come by the the music video shoot and on Crenshaw and Slauson, and we can connect then. And sure enough, I ended up doing that. And yeah, I mean, it was a sight to behold. I mean, literally, as I'm pulling up with my boy, one of my guys, Weddle, he's a really well-known tattoo artist now, but then, on the come up, we both end up pulling up to Crenshaw and Slauson. I mean, and the intersection is just like a sea of people. Music, Nipsey's music playing virtually on every car, motorcycle
That's
passing
cool.
by. And again, I have been privileged to see other, big acts at that time, but I had never seen nothing like that. Like what was going on where a community and, and a section was championing behind, one of their guys.
Yep.
So immediately getting there, I didn't see Nipsey. I just see a bunch of different people, people who are working production, people who are part of the video, and then, just people that are onlookers.
Yeah.
Probably about 10 minutes from me being there, Nipsey ends up pulling up in a white Bentley. He hops out. Everybody's trying to get his attention. I don't know how we end up, formally introducing ourselves to one another, but we do.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the duration of that shoot, I shoot, candid photos and portraits in between takes. And that was our first introduction. We worked on several one-off projects, either for editorial magazine or editorial projects or, mixtape packaging thereafter between the periods of 2008 and like the latter part of 2010, and at this time Nipsey was signed to Epic Records.
Okay.
So November 2010, Nipsey reaches out personally this time and says, "Hey man, look, I have a studio space that I want to share with you, and an opportunity I want to share with you. I have a A room and a B room. The A room is my personal space. The B room is the space for the team, and then there's a C room that could be like a creative space that maybe we could share. It's in the Wilshire and Alvarado area of LA.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's come through and let's see what we can piece together."
Yeah, yeah.
And sure enough, I'm already a fan. I admire everything that he represents in the music, and I can feel that I had a good sense that this guy was an authentic soul. So I go down to to the studio. I check out the space, hardwood floors, a floor to ceiling window. Not a very big space, but for me it was gonna be my first space.
Yeah,
So it was big enough, right?
Yeah.
A space is a space,
Yeah, no
right?
doubt.
And so, we were able to connect there, and that was he explains to me like, look, I'm about to depart Epic Records, and I'm about to go indie again, and one of the most critical components of what I'm trying to do and trying to establish is my visual branding. And I think that, our talents can complement one another, and I'm about to go indie. And I think the indie telling me that the indie part was like, look, there's no money right now, but, feel
will
me.
be,
Like,
yeah.
we let's cook. Let's do something.
Absolutely, let's cook.
And, I believed it all the way through, and so he was at this point, at the tail end of finishing up what was going to be an album, but became a mixtape, which is the Marathon mixtape.
Yep.
And that was kind of the launch pad of our relationship. And this is November 2010.
Okay.
Now, to get to the point of like the tour management part,
Yeah.
that was something that had been knocking on my door from like 2012 to 2013. It was knocking on my door.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I was conflicted with taking on that position for two reasons. Someone was already doing it, so I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And two, I didn't want to start falling into the frame that I'm shooting, right, as a photographer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
You're
the
behind
stuff
the
that
scenes.
we
Right.
created was a form of photojournalism.
Okay.
So now if I have to be in frame, I'm the tour manager, right? When we're on the road or we're
Yeah.
in different places, and I have to be the conduit for a lot of things. Now I miss out on the opportunity of being that fly in the wall that I was kind of existing within his realm, right?
Were you worried that your relationship would change at all? Because I feel like tour managers have to treat the artist a little different than most people, at least that I've noticed.
Kind of. I think the way that he operates and the way that our team as a collective, as a whole operates is like a family.
Yeah.
So like a lot of respect, but there's also hierarchy, and we know like everybody, has to play their position.
Yeah.
So no, we have a saying, and it's a common saying, but it's a saying that we say commonly,
Yeah.
which is no one's bigger than the program.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not above anybody doing, the small task,
Yeah.
Nipsey included,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he practiced what he preached. So everybody, when you have a leader like that, everybody kind of falls in line, and it's like, all right, we see it.
Yeah, it's
It's
cool.
reflected by the person that's spearheading the program, the
Agreed.
engine.
Yep.
And so tour management opportunity materialized around 2014, 2015. He had just dropped a project called Mailbox Money. And he's like, man, I need you to come on, man. We're kind of shifting gears with the team. And I think you might be well suited for the tour management stuff. And I'm like, all right, for sure. And so sure enough, the first show that we ended up doing happened to be in probably and arguably the second biggest market for Nipsey, which is Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably neck and neck with LA. And it was at a venue called Warehouse Live.
Okay.
And it was extremely stressful.
Yeah.
So stressful. I mean, that was probably the ultimate test, to kickstart things, because Houston loves Nipsey, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, this is my first run. I had no ambitions of doing tour management. Not that I didn't feel I was capable of, but I just didn't. This wasn't
Yeah, it
like
wasn't something
on
that you
my,
thought about doing.
Right.
This wasn't on my vision board.
Yeah.
I
How
was kinda
old were
throwing
you
it.
then?
Well, we're talking, what were we saying,
You
2015,
said 15.
15,
I think?
something.
so what's that, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 26, 27, around there.
It's a great opportunity. For
Yeah,
that.
so it was
It's
a
good
cool
time.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And at the time, we're dealing with independent promoters,
Yeah.
which is a toss up. Either they're very professional or they're just like all over the place.
Or don't pay you.
Well, no. Our policy was take a deposit, half up front and then half, at the day of the show.
Yeah.
And in this case, I'm asking the guy for the money, the promoter for the money, and he's running back and forth from front of house and from the ticket booth with
Collecting money.
collecting
Yeah.
money. It was that type of deal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, look, this is my responsibility. If he doesn't we don't collect all of the back end, he's not gonna touch the mic, and this is gonna be really bad for everybody.
Absolutely.
No one wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then the fans lose because they miss out on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lose because you have to start refunding. Everybody loses,
loses.
and then it looks bad for Nipsey because it's like, why didn't Nipsey come out?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he a good sport? This is
Yeah.
what people,
That's what they think. Yeah.
can think. That was one part of the equation that night. The second part was all of the guys from Rap A Lot Records who always, supported Nipsey and showed a lot of love. These guys would come in like a fleet of cars, maybe like 15, 20 cars. Jeez. And so the entry point into the back of the venue, right? The back door of the venue was like this narrow alleyway.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, as soon as they pulled up, they blocked in our SUV and there's no way out.
Yeah.
So my thing is always thinking about security, just in case a fight or anything breaks out.
Exit plan.
You have to be able to exit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no exit here.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm thinking, like, fuck, this is not a good situation.
Yeah.
And then one of my pet peeves, and one of the things that we try to avoid as much as possible, was the prototypical rap show sea of people behind the performer, because people didn't come to see the people. The entourage, they came to see the performer.
Yeah.
And so
I bet that was fun.
that battle, that was a battle I was willing to lose that night, because there was probably, without any exaggeration, maybe about 100 people on stage.
Okay.
Did Nipsey care about that?
In certain venues, yes. We
Yeah.
enforced it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But there were cities like LA, like Houston, like New York, where it was kind of just,
Yeah.
part of the flow.
Yeah.
And such was the case, in Houston that day. But yeah, that was the first trial run. I guess one of the second tests was,
How did that one go?
it went really well.
Went really well,
It was
right?
a great night. It was a
That's
great
cool.
night. It was always good energy. All of the back end was delivered and
Yeah.
collected.
Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
100 people on the forefront.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Everybody was good. I mean, it was a really good show.
Good.
And I've always enjoyed and loved, had a special heart for Houston and Texas in general. Houston, Dallas, always a lot of love there.
Yeah, yeah.
Austin, the same.
Yeah, they're great.
San
Both of them
Antonio, the
Houston's
same.
All the way
But
through Texas.
that's how I got that was my introduction into the tour management thing.
Yeah.
And then from there forth, was doing doing shows with Nipsey and club appearances and stuff like that. And really, really, really nice experience, honestly, because you get to do things that you enjoy with people you love.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And so you're running through the airport, constant laughter, practical jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, the type of stuff, like, I would constantly pinch myself. I'm like, man, how did I get
this
so
happen?
lucky? Because these
Yeah.
are good people.
Good
That's
stuff,
like
man.
legitimately good people.
Which is rare, like in that. I mean, a lot of teams, tour managers have to babysit people, and you didn't have
No,
to. You know?
no, by no means. No, Nipsey
Yeah.
was a consummate professional.
Yeah, that's
all
great.
the time. Like he was on point.
Yeah, that's
He
amazing.
was on point, and we didn't have like we didn't carry any like or a large entourage or anybody that was just dead weight. Like everybody played a position.
That's cool.
Like everything was very intentional, and so everything for the most part, our traveling party, when we were doing spot dates or doing festivals, was like 6 people.
That's cool.
When we actually started bringing more people along, was actually on routed tours, and our last routed tour was in 2018, the Victory Lap tour.
Yeah.
And that one was about a month and a half, and we had 2 tour buses, and was a live, full band production, everything. That one was very stressful.
Yeah, I bet.
That was very, very, very
How was
stressful.
that was the second one, Jorge, when it came down to it after that Texas one that you guys did. Did you get anything better out of it too?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, no,
Right? Like
I
trial
think-
and error type stuff too.
Yeah,
right?
no, we constantly like refine and streamlined our systems a lot better every time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it always got better. There were some things that are kind of unavoidable, and those are like the certain variables that you can't control.
Unexpected.
But yeah, I mean, it was a great experience in dealing in business and dealing with people, from all walks of life. especially like the independent promoters. I mean, there's a lot of great people and a lot of characters.
Yeah.
No doubt. No
Well,
doubt.
I bet the network that you built on the road was pretty, and a great network of people that you never would have met if you never did that, and
Completely.
probably
Oh,
still do
yeah.
business with people today that you
Yeah,
met on the
no.
road.
I think what's special about what Nipsey built and the messaging behind his music is that it garners a lot of entrepreneurs
Yeah, for
and
sure.
self-starters.
Well, he met with like Gary Vee, and he did stuff that was so outside the box of like a normal rapper that would kind of help the youth kind of become entrepreneurs. At least what I saw online.
Yeah,
you know?
like one of the things I that I always was really impressed by was people running up to like the black car, with us in it, or at the the section at the club, or after the show coming with books and resumes. I'm like, this is something like that's special, like this is motivating people, to do
Absolutely,
better.
yeah.
And I remember actually having that conversation with my parents, because at the beginning stages, like, well, when is this thing gonna take off?
Yeah.
When is this gonna start making money? Like, this seems more like a this than it is a this.
The hobby rather than.
And one of my biggest defenses, which was an honest, reflection of what I thought, was like we're doing something that seems to be impacting people positively.
Yeah.
And I think, and I feel confident that, the money will come in some facet. But I'm like, as far as like fulfillment, I'm like, this is doing it for me.
Yeah. That's cool.
Because I'm saying one of the things that Nipsey, outside, he touched people of all walks of life, which was really cool, because everybody kind of intermingled like that. Wouldn't by face value, be in the same room, which was special.
Yeah.
But specifically, like people that were able to identify in his background or his appearance or his presentation, that's like are people that are very hard, to maybe communicate with, or people like, I don't want to hear from so and so, I don't want to hear from so and so, but they felt it from Nipsey. And so you see a lot of guys from the streets, start taking, a turn for the better and going legit.
Yeah.
And taking risks and chances in legitimate business instead of other things. So that's still reflected and reverberates not only in LA but in several cities. I can tell you for sure. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever give an opportunity for someone that gave you guys a resume or anything like that to kind of challenge them to take them under your wing?
A lot of people. I mean, our web developer still to this day is a guy, Rashid Suleiman from St. Louis that Nipsey met through Twitter.
That's cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
So and there's that times 100.
That's
like
great.
Nipsey, one thing I'll give him a credit amongst a whole host of other things, that he was like an architect of constructing a team, and he was non-discriminate in that. He brought people of all walks of life into his fold,
No matter what.
So he didn't limit himself to his immediate network of people and like, I'm gonna force you to do this, I'm gonna force you to do that. He was always handpicking people.
Yeah, it was
Like
probably
that.
based on like the talent and the energy and
Yeah.
other things than just
Yeah, yeah.
letting your friends work for you and hope they figure it out.
Yeah, no. I think he tried that early on, and like a lot of people do. Everybody in
For
any
sure.
industry,
Yeah.
your first recruits are your immediate friends and family.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, I think Nipsey bringing in people of all walks of life, created like a really interesting culture within our company.
That's cool.
Where there's different perspectives, and all of that is reflected in what we do.
Yeah. Did you keep the vision of the brand and building the brand with Nipsey going while you were tour managing, or is it still part of the full-time job?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
The tour managing didn't take over.
no,
That's
not
great.
at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. Our team prides itself on wearing several different hats. And
Yeah.
when I tell you it's a tight-knit team, as far as like the day-to-day is like 6 people, 7 people.
For everything.
Yeah, for everything.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of juggling. And yeah, I mean, to think that you're only going to do one thing within our team, is unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Everybody, either knows something or learns something every day.
That's awesome.
Picking
Yeah.
up someone
Yeah.
else.
And the
too,
marathon
right?
brand
Which is
too. I
cool.
mean, you guys built such a strong brand. What's next for it? What are you guys working on now? Like,
Man,
how's it
for the
looking?
clothing, I think it's just elevating our brand.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we need to elevate is just do a better cut and sew program. I think we've done a lot of printables.
Yeah.
We've dabbled into some cut and sew here and there. We're right now working on opening, remodeling, and about to open our marathon store number 2, which is
Nice.
going to be on Melrose, just east of La Brea. It's a really
That's
nice
cool.
space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as far as like the clothing brand, more accessories, just more everything all around. New talent, bringing new talent into the fold and on the design end. But yeah, I mean, I want this. It's a family-owned brand, and it's something that I want to be a legacy brand that's handed off, from generation to generation. So
Yeah.
we have a huge responsibility at hand.
Yeah.
And so we treat it with care.
That's awesome. Are you building out other categories besides clothing and that you're looking at?
Yeah. So the categories that we're already active in, like the other subsidiaries of the Marathon brand, obviously is clothing.
Yep.
Music is another one through the Almanian Records imprint. We have Collective, which is our dispensary.
Yep.
We have Cultivation, which is our our distro brand for cannabis, and then we also have we just opened up Marathon Burger.
Oh, cool.
That's us getting into the food space. It's something that we had talked about for the longest. Actually, something that's taking a lot of our bandwidth right now.
Yeah. Are you licensing the IP out to partners that are professional, or are experts in that space, or are you guys building it yourself?
This is all us.
So do you like that business model better than the licensing side, where you just have to approve and let them run it and pay your royalty? You'd rather be on the ground with it.
I think because especially at least with food, we're just getting started. I think it'd be a bit premature just to license it, because we haven't got a proper evaluation of what it's worth and what it can be. So we haven't done our grand opening at that. Right now it's like operating through a window, and our indoor dining space is closed, and we just serve on our outdoor patio area.
That's
right.
Cool.
But yeah, with the food project in particular with Marathon Burger, that opportunity or that idea came about maybe about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. My partner Sam, was catching kind of like all of the craze of like the smash burgers.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was like, he ended up going to a spot, that he liked or that someone recommended to him. And as he's sitting in the parking lot in his car eating the burger, he's looking to the left and right, and he's seeing people, coming in, by scores of people just coming in, leaving with burgers, cars, delivery and this, that, and the third. And so he comes back to the office after that weekend, and he's like, "Hey, man, we got to do a burger spot."
Yeah.
And I was just like looking at our pile of things that we have on our desk, and I'm like,
sounds
sure,
good. Yeah.
This sounds good. I'm like, I'm with it though. I'm with it. Anything that anyone brings to the table, I feel very confident that our team could execute on.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, sounds good. So we started ideating on what the menu could be, designing what the logo can look like.
Yeah.
What location it could, where the store first store can be situated. And all of these ideas get, talked about for the course of a couple of weeks, months. Things start getting printed out. Things start getting placed in manila folders, and then new projects take precedence, right?
Yep.
And that project kind of gets put on the back burner, but it's still in the back of our minds.
Yeah. And
then sure enough, around, let me see, what was it? I think it was August of last year. A restaurant that we were in once had done some type of cross-pollination in the Crenshaw and Slauson area. The owner of that store ends up detracting completely from the franchise and changes his signs overnight from what was a Fat Burger to now Marathon Premium Burger.
Come on.
Really?
And so now
without telling you guys?
No, without telling us. He knew obviously of the cultural influence and the significance of the Marathon brand and Nipsey to the area.
Yeah.
Because it's situated just a stone's throw away from the original store.
Yeah.
Right? That intersection is Nipsey's. In fact, it's Nipsey Hussle Square.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Wow.
the owner, obviously saw, the influence it had, and he's like, well, I don't want to pay franchise fees. I don't have to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
He probably wanted to do his own thing, and probably could have named it virtually anything else, but he chose to name it Marathon Premium Burger, which we had never announced anything on our behalf or whatever.
Yeah.
It was purely coincidental, and the fact that he added premium was just the slight difference and change.
Crazy.
Anyways, that goes up. A bunch of people start messaging us and calling us. Hey, congratulations!
Yeah.
Like you guys are back on, on Crenshaw and Slauson, the burger spot. We're excited for you. Other people were skeptical if it in actuality was us. They're like, hey, this thing doesn't look really well put together. It doesn't seem like what you guys would have done with your other brands.
Yeah.
Is this you guys?
I got it.
And so
Got it.
You know, we were kind of pinned in a position where it's like, do we make this like a public thing and just stir up the pot, or do we just, you know, privately say, hey man, like you gotta take those down, call it whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
but just don't call it this, because this is our IP and it's confusing people.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have that conversation. Signs were taken down. Now it's just Premium Burger,
Okay.
right? None of our IP is present outside or inside the space. And so for us, that was a swift reminder that, you know, good ideas don't last very long. And, you know, put us in a position where like, hey, we got to turn things around on this project, because it seems like there's some interest in it.
Yeah.
And so my partner, Sam, tells me like, hey, let's throw up something saying Marathon Burger coming soon. And sure enough, we throw that up.
Yeah.
Ton of excitement. Some people are like, wait, I thought you guys are already on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we throw that up. At this point, we don't have a menu yet. We don't have
Location.
a burger.
Yeah.
We don't have a restaurant. We don't have anything other than
It's a good idea.
a logo and a great idea.
Yeah.
And sure enough, by the grace of God, you know, we're able to turn around. When that goes up, rather, excuse me, I don't want to skip this very vital, important piece of the story.
Okay.
So this post goes up, and that acts as a bad signal for us of sorts.
Okay.
Right, because someone from our network reaches out to someone else from that's in the business in the restaurant business, and he's like, hey man, I think I have a great location for you guys. It's on Melrose and Gardner. It was Johnny Rocket store #1.
Nice.
And so again, it's a great opportunity, but
Yeah.
we're completely independently financed. You know, we don't have any type of angel investors or outside capital. It's just us.
Yeah.
You know, so every dollar made, every dollar invested, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we're like, well, it sounds like a great opportunity. Next question is, well, can we afford it?
Yeah.
And it's a perfect opportunity because it's only like less than a quarter mile away from what's going to be our new clothing store on the
great.
same street.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah.
it seems perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we meet with the owner of the property, crunch the numbers, negotiate, go back and forth, and lucky enough, we're able to land on something that we can afford. We get the keys, and as soon as we get the keys, remodeling starts in the exterior and interior of the business. And this is around September. And so while we're doing all of this remodeling, one of our partners, Casey, tells us, hey, look, there's this Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon's doing this promotion with SpongeBob to commemorate, an anniversary, and they're doing the Krabby Patty collab. You guys want to do it? Sure.
Yeah.
Again, like
That's
we don't
great.
pass up too many
no,
opportunities because we know how
That's so
hard
good.
how much work it's taken to get these opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? So like, sure, we'll do it. Paint's still drying. People are still.
So you turned it into a.
Yeah. So no. So everything's getting sanded down still. So he's like, yeah, we'll be signed up for it. So maybe towards the latter part of September, maybe the last week of September or first week of October, we're in one of our meetings, and it's like, hey, so what's up with that Krabby Patty thing? When is that? Let's check.
Next week.
Yeah.
Check the. Oh, it's October 8th. I think it's like October 1st.
Oh God.
You
And
guys had a
so
week?
in my mind, I think I'm, practical. I'm like, yeah, we might have to pass that one up.
Yeah.
But fortunately, my brother Sam,
Yeah.
he's one of the guys like, nope,
We got to get
we're
it.
gonna do it,
Yeah.
right?
Good,
We
guys.
have to do it. We can't afford not to do it.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxury of just having this thing sit, getting remodeled, and not generating any money.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, sure. And so we started to assemble a team. Cashier, cooks.
Jeez. That's quick.
7
One,
days.
the guy who guys that helped us craft the Krabby Patty was or two chefs, executive chefs from Catch, who are
Nice.
Yeah.
good friends. So it's lucky.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
We're kind of lucky to have that ace in our pocket, right?
Yeah.
Chef Eddie and Chef Adrian. They came in, they helped us put together the single meal, which seems like it doesn't seem like too much of a tall order, but if that's all you're banking on, it better be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in and out.
Yeah.
Like,
like,
yeah.
yes,
there you
yes,
go.
yes. So
Say.
we put that together, and as the burgers are we're doing trial and error with burgers and different sauces and different types of fries and all of that good stuff, and putting a staff together. We're putting together promotional material for this, both for online and printed and vinyls for the windows of our store. cleaning up the patio, letting the paint dry still.
Jeez.
And so October 8th rolls around and we open up shop, through our window.
Yeah.
And, the business started booming. So
Yeah.
it was a huge blessing that we followed through on that because of the brand familiarity
Absolutely.
of SpongeBob. So for some nostalgia, for others it's current.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
watching it at Nick at Night or whatever,
Yeah.
or online on their tablets.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
And so scores of people came that were either familiar already with our brand and were excited for us to enter, a new space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a ton of other people that had never interacted with our brand either in none of the categories that we participate in. So
Yeah.
it's been really cool. And I love the restaurant business because brings, people of all walks of life to sit together and, break bread and enjoy,
Yeah.
a good burger.
So you still have the Krabby Patty concept going? Is
Yeah.
it
No,
going
so the Krabby Patty concept only ran from, throughout the course of October.
on? Okay.
So then once that one was over, it's like, so what's our next
What's
act?
next?
Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing next?
Yeah.
And so virtually the day after the Krabby Patty collab ended, we rolled out, a bit more of an extensive menu, which includes smash burgers, OG
Nice.
burgers, portobello mushroom burger, a vegan burger, shrimp basket, chicken strips,
Cool.
chicken wings, fries, and assortment of drinks.
So
That's
is there
amazing.
anything like particular that like stands you guys out from other burger places and stuff?
I would say a couple of things. The quality of our meat. All of our stuff is delivered daily, and all of our patties are made same day. So it's not like
That's
frozen
good.
patties
Yeah,
that come
that's
in
great.
or already
All fresh.
pre-prepped. So it's all
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah.
Our Fresno peppers is kind of like a key ingredient that we use. All of our pickles are house made too.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's a
Pickle guy
couple.
over
I'm a dill pickle guy.
Oh man,
Okay,
I
so-
hate pickles.
No.
I'm an OG dill.
I like cheeseburgers though.
Yeah,
No
so
pickles and
I'm not a
pickles.
kosher guy.
I think those are a couple of factors, but and the burger just as a whole, all of our options taste really good.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that care,
Yeah.
no seed oils. We
Yeah.
use
Oh, that's good.
we use like avocado oil. We use beef tallow.
Yeah. That's
So those
good.
are some considerations made. I mean,
You got a
by no
vegan
means-
option too, right?
Huh?
You got the vegan
Yeah,
option. with
Yeah,
the
so we got the
mushroom, yeah.
vegan option, and we our partner Casey is vegan, so
Yeah.
or vegan vegetarian. He was the ultimate litmus test, for
Yeah.
that. Like,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
and it tastes good. That's another thing. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, great, I'm just eating.
Tastes like vegan food.
I'm eating a bunch of matter between
Yeah.
two buns.
Yeah.
Does
Like
not
this is
taste
good.
like meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
he
cool.
kind of walked us through that and helped us navigate those uncharted waters, unfamiliar waters for us because everybody on our team eats beef,
Yeah.
with the exception of him.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. You pulled off a restaurant that quick and like
That's
made it happen in
incredible.
a week and
Yeah,
The will
no,
to win,
it's
man.
a testament to leadership in our team and the efforts that are put forth, and everybody played the role once
Yeah.
again. And yeah, I mean it's exciting. There's some new opportunities on the horizon
yeah.
for the business. So right now we have a projected grand opening date coming up in February
Nice.
to be announced. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
That's a very
How's
exciting.
the cannabis industry for you?
Cannabis industry is good. I mean,
Yeah.
you're familiar with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's competitive. It's a war of words, I feel, a lot of the
Yeah.
times because virtually everybody is, for the most part, selling very similar products,
Yeah.
and undercutting. It's good, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we super serve the people, that come to, our business in Canoga Park.
Yeah.
As far as like all of our partners and retailers, they're pretty happy. Our front runner is Marathon OG, which I think that's really what got us, our foot in the door into the industry,
Yeah.
through Nipsey, as Nipsey used to go religiously to a dispensary and get what was called a La Brea OG,
Mm.
and so he was like, man, purchase enough of someone else's, strain. It's
You know what
time
you
for
like.
me to do my
Yeah.
thing. And, Nipsey was able to strike a deal, partnership with Cure Company. And that's how we ended
Nice.
up with Marathon OG.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like our flagship item that everybody knows us for. But
Yeah.
as far as the industry, I mean,
It's ups and
ups and downs.
Yeah.
I don't want to mislead people thinking like it's like this like gold mine of you're just printing money.
yeah.
I think that mentality or that economy is reserved maybe for people that are in the black market.
Yeah.
Truth be told, you know.
Exactly.
But we're, you know, fully legit. So,
Exactly.
you know, we abide by all the rules.
It's harder to make money that way.
It's harder to make money, but
No, but it's
You
the
have
way
less
to do it.
worry.
It's the way to do it. But the guys
Yeah,
that are making
worry.
money are
but you
doing
sleep a lot better at night.
exactly.
Yeah, no
I rather make less
Yes,
money and
exactly.
sleep better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sleep
At least
is
in that
important.
space. How about other states? Are you guys going to other states?
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
And would that be a licensing concept where you find partners in those states? And
Yeah,
make sure?
we've talked about it. We
Yeah.
just want to make sure that whatever we're offering here is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to compromise it because I think what happens in the cannabis industry, from our experience and just from what we've kind of observed, is that once a brand gets really big, they start getting kind of greedy
Yeah.
and they start putting different type of flour in the
Yep.
packaging, thinking that the packaging alone and the brand
Yeah.
is gonna fool customers. But I mean, you know, like a bait and switch type of
Absolutely.
deal.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't use those type of deceptive factors. Like we actually go for a lot of like low yielding flour.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which is going completely against the grain.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, but if you go to our collective, you know, we have everything, you know, from a $20 eighth to $100 eighth.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, and everything in between.
Yeah. That's
And,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, to me personally, I'm learning a lot as I go. With cannabis. I've never like really partaken in it much, you know, in terms of consumption.
Yeah.
Some people, it works great, you know. Like I see people and I'm like, man, it's like drinking a cup of coffee for you.
Yes,
She ain't
I
a
just-
fan. She
I
ain't a fan.
never-
She
in
never
my,
does.
Like all my years, I've like here and there like tried. It just does not.
Yeah, no, a
work
lot
for
of
me.
members of
Yeah.
our team smoke, and it's just like they're drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah. I
You know,
would be able to.
like
yeah.
Frozen, you
I gotta
know?
be home if I'm doing it. Home in
yeah,
my-
no,
my
the
room.
few times I have smoked, I mean, like, they've been celebratory moments, you know, with Nipsey or different, you know.
Yeah.
Really Nipsey.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I just get stoned and it doesn't work for me.
Exactly.
Like, I got too much on my plate, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, way
You feel it too much.
I feel it. I feel all of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Same
I
with me.
feel all of it. I
Same
just
with
sink
me.
into my seat, and I'm just like, man, where
What
am I doing?
When is this done?
when is
But
this
some
done?
people like need it, you know. It's
Yeah.
like even I mean I'll just tell a quick story, but like the Tyson fight we were at
Yeah.
when I was with Adam, who is the CEO of Karma and a partner of ours, and he, you know, right after the fight, Tyson calls Adam, the first person he called after he fought Jake, and said, "Hey, where are you with the joints? Like meet me right now." So Tyson just needed to smoke a joint right after,
He
Yeah.
was,
after the
he,
fight,
he- yeah, he was
and he
sober
just
for
was
a while,
chill, and he
man,
was
the
like
whole
happy,
time.
and he didn't smoke the whole time.
Yep.
And then right after he needed a joint. That's all he was thinking about. It's like some people are like that, you know.
Well, it's
He
like
was
the-
calm
It was
as
a
a
stressful
cucumber.
fight.
after
Yeah,
that.
it was a
Calm as a
stressful fight.
cucumber
It was
after
a
that.
stressful
Yeah.
fight. A guy have his agents coming at him, you know, like
Yeah.
a raging bull.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
people didn't give him any
He just
type
wanted
of credit.
simplicity at his
Yeah,
finest.
he was at our
He
after
looking
party just
for it.
smoking joints.
Yeah.
He's like happy as he could ever be.
Afterwards.
It's great.
Hey, good
One after
business.
the other.
Everybody won that day.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody
exactly.
won that
Everybody
day.
won that
Without
day.
a
Oh, yeah.
doubt, everybody won that day.
Yeah, he's like the happiest he's ever been, so it's good.
He deserves it.
Yeah,
He does.
exactly.
He deserves it. However critical people were of that fight, you know, of everything around it. I mean, at the end of the day, the fighters got, you know, paid.
Yeah,
get
and it was,
taken
and it was
care
the
of, everybody
biggest
gets
sporting
taken care
event ever. You know?
It was, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
like eyeball wise.
An opportunity
Yeah.
for Netflix and everything
No,
else,
yeah.
right? To do some
I,
changes.
I love boxing. I'm a big connoisseur, self-proclaimed connoisseur of boxing. At recent times, I think the sport is on fire. You know,
Oh, yeah,
in
for sure.
different weight levels, weight classes rather.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I know that there was a lot of different feelings about
Yeah,
people.
backlash.
You know,
and-
huh?
yeah. A lot of backlash.
yeah, about you know, the YouTubers coming into boxing or
But he's
or
helping it, I
influencers.
think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's bringing in new eyeballs.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
I mean,
Just
Jake
like
Paul,
golf or anything else.
People can say all they want about him, but he seems like he cares and he tries.
He does.
And,
he's an athlete.
and he's an
Him
athlete,
Both,
you know?
both Jake
And he's making
Logan.
everyone the most money they've ever made.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
So I
While
don't know.
staying healthy and in shape.
I thought
Exactly.
Too.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to get into your family a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about your kids. Let's give a little shout out to your kids too
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
man!
Yeah.
Shout out
And,
to
you know, right?
shout out to David, UCLA, second year.
Yeah, good
Shout
for him.
out
Congrats.
to Jorge, he's 7.
Nice.
My basketball star, and Luis,
Yeah.
my baseball star with the heart of gold.
I love it, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. And then you have a significant other
Yeah,
too
my
as
wife.
well.
Yeah, my wife's killing it. You know, she's a morning show host for a show called Brown Bag Mornings on Power 106, #1 show morning show.
Nice.
So
Shout out.
That's amazing.
she's killing it.
That's excellent.
That's amazing.
Congratulations
Yeah,
to,
she's
to
a
both
top
of you.
dog.
Yeah.
And you guys seem like you have it all straightened out with your family life, and I appreciate that so much, brother.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I
it's, like,
appreciate
one
it,
of the
man. You
most
know,
important.
ups and downs, like everybody.
Yeah. It's all work.
That's
but,
how
you
we
know.
do
Oh yeah, everybody.
That's
Well,
how- yeah,
we're
we all-
heroes. Yes, you
Kids,
know.
kids
But it's
all
all worth
around
it.
here.
It's all worth it, you know.
Yeah,
Do
we're
you,
absolutely is.
do you see like the artistic stuff in any of your kids?
Oh yeah,
Like, kinda come
absolutely,
up?
absolutely. My son Luis, the little one, he has taken a liking for the entire crayon box. And rainbow colors in particular. He like everything he does. Like that's his color scheme that he does.
Yeah.
Rainbow,
Good.
rainbow,
Oh, that's
everything.
so funny. Our third son, that's
Huh?
how he was.
That's my
forever,
baby,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like the artsy one. and
Middle
rainbows.
one,
Yeah.
Jorge, he definitely draws. He's definitely observed a lot of like the logo design. Like this guy is treating like Marathon and Albany in like a gang.
Yeah.
Like every time he gets to draw it at school, he's drawing it on
On
It's
his-
like,
on
it's
his
like
notebooks.
Stussy.
He's branding
Yeah, it's like
everything.
the little
Remember when
Stussy
we all
signs
did
back in
the
the day.
Stussy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what it
cool.
is for him.
Little hat on it?
Everything.
Cool.
Everything. I
That's
mean,
cool.
he was glued to my hip during the pandemic
Yeah.
because everything kept going for us. You know, like we didn't stop. So
Yeah.
you know, he was there with me. You know, as a 3, 4, 5 year old. Yeah, 3 and 4, 5. You know, stuck to my hip.
Yeah.
And at the meetings, incredibly patient because our
Yeah.
meetings aren't like, oh, hey, we're just gonna have 1 hour, 2 hour. No, it's like 7, 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
And my guy is in there and
That's great.
listening. Maybe on the iPad, maybe drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like, can I get a snack?
Yeah.
You know.
Can I go to the restroom?
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of
good.
traits that you had when you were a kid with him?
Jorge?
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Both
Both
of them. But Jorge for sure. Jorge is, man, he puts a lot of pressure on me as a parent. You know, like how your kids look up to you.
Yes.
Like this guy, like my wife and I went to a parent teacher conference a couple months ago, and I think they asked him what he wanted to be, and this was 2 occasions rather. In kindergarten, there was a back to school night, and one of the things that he had written was he wanted to be like his dad because he wants to be this, that, and the third. I actually posted a video. It's really
That's
nice.
awesome.
I'll share it with you guys.
So cool.
And
Incredible.
the second time around was in first grade, parent teacher conference. Teachers like, hey, you know, we asked the students to say what they wanted to be when they grow up. And he listed, I want to be this, that, and the third, right?
Yes.
And the teacher's like, yeah, but that didn't go with the assignment because it was really just to say one thing. And he was outlining
like-
things that I do.
Yes.
And I was like, man, don't be a dream killer, man.
Yeah.
That-
I was
gonna
like,
say, hey,
you do
come
more
on,
than one
teacher.
thing.
I'm like, now when there's people like famed and admired Gordon Parks, you know, who was the first black photographer for Life magazine.
Yeah.
He also was a director, self-taught composer, played semi-professional basketball. I'm just saying, there's people like this that are special out in the
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
Entrepreneurs,
Why can't
man.
why can't your kids be that? You
And
know
it's
what I'm saying?
becoming more like
Same, I
accepted,
agree.
I think, too. It's like you can do multiple things.
It
You can
should
do
be.
it right, you know?
It should be a lot
You know,
more,
that's
right?
great.
I think teachers should embrace that.
I
without a
think
doubt.
it's an inevitable future.
Yeah. It
If
is.
we want to compete,
Especially with AI. I'm
Yeah.
telling
Especially
you.
with AI.
I'm telling you. It's circle,
or
full
learn
circle.
AI
Yeah.
a lot, you know?
Yeah, no, I think you have to be. You inherently have to be. You know,
Yeah.
like it. You know, that's kind of where everything is going. Like,
And if you're not, you're replaced.
yeah,
true.
Probably.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm thinking about just the ecosystem in which kids are being cultivated now.
Yeah.
What is college going to be a thing? You know, in 20
Yeah.
years,
I don't
30.
know.
I mean, yes for doctors, please.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes for lawyers,
yeah,
please.
Yeah.
But
Certain big
other career fields, I think a lot of people are going to be self-taught and
Yeah.
self-starters.
Or trades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Probably looking more for like internships earlier on in their
More
early age.
mentorships.
More mentorships. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. Learning
Because
from people
people
that
are
have done
gonna-
what you want to
definitely
do.
gonna be a
you
switch.
know?
Yeah, because people are gonna catch on to like, man, I'm pursuing this thing, but it's gonna cost me $100,000 in school. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
going,
Yeah, and then
tuition or $200,000, and I'm gonna miss in 4 years of, prime energy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for people like that too, as well, because it changes their mindsets. You know, they're worrying about stuff from the past and the backlash, right? Because they owe money
Oh yeah,
and it's stress.
stressful.
And
Yeah.
how are you going to get an opportunity or give yourself
Well,
opportunities
yeah.
with that stress?
You can learn so
know?
much now with the internet, whatever else. It's
Right.
like it's almost getting. I mean, it's kind of messed up to say, but like getting out of school quicker is probably
Yeah.
better for
Yeah,
a lot of
I just don't-
entrepreneurs.
yeah.
Didn't you
I didn't
in one
know
of
this.
them say YouTube University? you
YouTube
called it?
Yeah.
University, yeah.
Yeah.
And Nipsey was big on YouTube and watching TED Talks and documentaries. I mean, I think the big advantage on that versus like a textbook is you can't print new information fast enough to
That's
live
true.
on a textbook.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's
on
outdated.
YouTube, something just got published maybe
Agreed.
a day or a week ago, and it's the latest and greatest. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the latest take on something, with all the information, the current
So
information.
true. It's all the only thing is the history books, and that's it.
Well, everything's
That's it.
Shows the
everything's
history,
progressing like I don't know, 100 times faster than it was
Without a doubt.
So-
back in the day. Yeah,
Without
it's
a
crazy.
doubt.
Yeah.
They don't have enough literature to put it
It's
out.
nuts.
Besides the
It's
internet.
nuts. Yeah, and then also too, kind of with the Nipsey thing, what's your plan to keep the legacy going? Is it the brand really marathon and
The brand is obviously a big component,
Yeah.
because that's where he started.
Yeah.
And he put everyone in position, to participate in his vision. So obviously clothing brand, cannabis, now food.
yeah,
Films is the next thing that we're tackling. We're working
Nice.
on a series, a docu-series on his life story, in partnership with Spring Hill, which is LeBron's production company.
awesome.
So working on that. We're a couple episodes in. We're just trying to make this be the definitive, most comprehensive piece that, leaves no stone unturned
Yeah.
about, his life and his story,
Yep.
with the hopes, of putting any type of questions or any doubts into, out of the room, because I think there's a lot of floating rumors and stories and, rewriting of history that's going around that I think when presented with the clear facts and photos
Absolutely.
and everything, people are going to be able to add what everything is, in fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think films is another, I think that particular project for us is like a legacy project,
Yeah.
a way to,
Telling a story.
to tell a
correctly.
story
Yeah.
for all the people that are already, locked in,
Mm.
and are familiar with Nipsey, and then people that aren't, that will come in contact with Nipsey for the first time through, this docu-series, whether it's released through Netflix or whether it's released through Amazon or any other the other streaming platforms. It's
Yeah.
kind of our responsibility. That's one of the projects I think that, I would say by end of year we have completed.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, we it's not definitely nothing we rush. I mean, we very much take the approach that Nipsey did with his music and made sure everything was well constructed, thoughtful, and intentional.
Yep.
Patience.
That's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. I mean, that his legacy keeps going and people
Oh,
still.
definitely.
He really made a cultural difference. I think and
No,
for someone just to watch from the outside, it was just like
Agreed.
it's crazy. to see.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, Nipsey was a sincere and genuine person. And the reason that he resonated with so many people, so many walks of life, was he was authentic.
Yeah.
I think he's very accessible too.
Mhm.
Like a lot of our heroes, the only time you get to see them is if you buy a ticket, to go see them if they're a performer or an athlete or whatever the case may be, or as a special event that you have to pay some type of admission. Whereas Nipsey, you were, like I've ran into so many people, that have had some type of experience or interaction with him, that a positive one at that. They're like, oh, I met Nipsey such and such.
Yeah.
Or I met Nipsey when I was here eating, or I met Nipsey at the gym. I met Nipsey. So he was, to me, like a giant walking amongst men, like
Yeah.
he, for real.
Yeah.
That's
For real.
right.
But always operated with humility, never was
Like a man of the
pretentious.
people.
Yeah, a man of the people. He's
Yeah.
a people's champ.
Yeah.
That's why, when everything happened, it affected people so much, because like, damn, like this was one of us.
Yeah, and you could kind of tell when that happened. It's
It
like
affected the
everyone,
community, man.
even people that weren't like listening to his music cared because it was so authentic, like you're saying. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
his personality and the way he
Absolutely.
was seen by people like affected a lot
the-
of people.
And the message was positive,
Yeah.
It was about
Agreed.
self-empowerment,
Yeah.
It's about, getting your affairs in order and, and going for the gusto and setting, dreaming big and working hard.
Yep.
And he was, his story was testament to that.
Yep.
It wasn't, he was more about action than he was, about telling people what to do or how to do it.
Yeah.
No, I love
He
that.
exemplified it, and he started, first, at ground zero within his community.
Yeah.
And many people have followed suit, in his community, and have been inspired, and obviously beyond that as well.
We appreciate what you've done for that community too, and that outreach and the whole team. And you guys have kept that legacy going.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of this, keeping this legacy going, is one of the questions, a lot of people were asking, like, well, you guys are opening up store number 2 on Melrose. What's going to happen to store number 1?
Yeah.
So it was inconceivable at any point that would reopen, for any type of retail. But, we're trying to turn, a negative into a positive. And the positive here is, Nipsey was very community oriented and, had a lot of philanthropic efforts, that he was involved in and engaged in. So we're going to continue in that spirit. So that whole plaza was purchased by by the team and his family. And so at around 2018, 2019. So that whole plaza is going to be converted into a community center called the
Oh, that's
Neighborhood Net
awesome.
Foundation.
Yeah.
So it'll have a music studio. It'll have a STEM program. The original store will still be there, erected in its original state. You know, like remodeled very lightly, but that's not going to be open for retail. It's only going to be available for the students that participate in the program, the
Oh,
kids
that's
that
neat.
participate.
Yeah.
We'll have a barber shop and a restaurant in there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
so,
so
it,
cool.
you know, we're working on, you know, making it as safe as possible, obviously having all the security measures.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you know, when you put these type of things, you know, up, and there's always going to be someone that doesn't feel, you know, real good about it.
Yeah.
Right.
As
Trying to cause
opposition.
problems,
And we
yeah.
don't, we want to make it, cause problems. We want to make this a safe environment
Yeah.
where, you know, kids can dream big and
Yeah,
dream
that's
beyond
great.
the
That's
circumstances.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Well,
being here
you know,
with us, Jorge.
It's a great way to
Appreciate it,
wrap
man.
this up because I feel like that's a great message. You
I
know?
Yeah.
agree.
Huge message.
Without a doubt. And, you know, anything else that you want to say to everybody too, you know, voice is yours, man. You know?
Yeah, no, just want to thank everybody, you know, from the city of LA and beyond, you know, for the continuous support of our brand. You know, like we work really hard to put our best foot forward in all the projects that we do. So we're extremely appreciative and grateful that, you know, you guys afford us the opportunity to serve, you know, in the different spaces that we do, and that we get to, you know, do something that we love to do, you know, at the highest level.
I love it.
There we go.
Be a part of community.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time and coming down
Same
here
here,
and talking
Jorge.
to
Thank you
us.
for the
man.
invite. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
That's good,
Thank
man.
you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.